I just love Dillard's anniversary celebration.
Me too. Dillard's has such great taste.
And great value.
Like this Missy sportswear from Corette.
30 to 40% off.
And these rugby shirts from Chaps by Ralph Lauren.
Just $19.99.
And these classic Stiffle table lamps.
$99.99.
Oh, yes, Dillard's does have great taste.
And great values.
Great taste.
Great values.
Don't miss Dillard's store-wide anniversary celebration, now through Saturday.
Great taste. Great values.
On a recent trip to Nashville, Tennessee, I visited several malls that I hadn't been to, and this is one of them. Welcome to the Stones River Towne Center in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If I sound awful, well, that's because I'm trying to get over a really bad virus, and that would explain why we didn't have a video last Friday. But the content must continue, so let's dive into the mall's history. Now, this is a really weird mall all the way back from its beginning to the way it is currently today. This mall was originally built in 1989, but would sit vacant for several years due to the original developers filing for bankruptcy and the property being foreclosed on. Two of the very first tenants would be a Walmart and a Goodies, which were opened in 1989 when the mall was foreclosed upon. Following this, a Sears and a Carmike Cinemas would open in 1990. Finally, things would begin to turn around for the property, and the mall would officially open in 1992 under the ownership of Stones River Real Estate and Arnov Realty. It would be called the Stones River Mall. The original layout of the mall would feature a large central fountain, Aladdin's Castle, a carousel, and a very small food court. Now, I find it weird to have a Walmart at a mall. That's not something you see very often. And in my experience, they've always been, attached to the mall, but you could never get to the Walmart from within the mall. I don't know if that was the case here or whether it did have a mall entrance. But in 1995, the Walmart would leave the mall, being replaced by a Kastner Knott a year later. So are you beginning to understand now why I said this is just such a weird mall? We started off with the mall being foreclosed on, then we had a Walmart in the mall, and now we have a Home Depot opening next to the mall. And I guess a Home Depot opening next to the mall isn't so weird, but usually you don't talk about, stores adjacent to the mall when you're talking about the history of a mall. But since the Home Depot was listed in the mall's history, I thought I would include it. In 1997, we would see the addition of a JCPenney as another shopping option. A year later, in 1998, would see the acquisition of the Kastner Knott chain by Dillards, and the Kastner Knott store here at the mall would be converted into a Dillards. As the mall neared the new millennium, 1999 would be an exciting year, as the mall would undergo an extensive renovation, giving the mall a new facelift heading into the new millennium. Unfortunately, everything heading into the 2000s would be all downhill, because right away we saw the closure of the Carmike Cinemas, which closed in August of 2000 when the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So between 2006 and 2008, the mall would undergo another extensive renovation, and this one I don't see as a positive renovation because it would include the demolition of the existing JCPenney and Dillard's store as well as the former food court wing. The former Dillard's would be demolished for an outdoor concourse, while the JCPenney became the brand new food court. The carousel and the Aladdin's Castle would be removed, and the center court fountain was also moved to the lifestyle area. Now, I think this renovation was a huge mistake and a big downfall for this mall, because yes, we are in the South, but you do have to realize Nashville, Tennessee does still experience winters. It does still get cold, and nobody wants to go walking around outside to shop from store to store in the wintertime. It's much nicer to go into an enclosed mall where it's heated. And then, of course, you have the opposite effect in the summertime when it gets just hot and muggy because it is Tennessee. The other frustrating thing is that now, in order to get to the Dillards, you have to walk outside, and what if it's raining, snowing, or just miserable outside? I really wish they had just left well enough alone and kept it an indoor portion of the mall, and maybe at worst renovated it into something bland and boring, like most malls do. But there is some good news out of this, because in 2006, the JCPenney would open its brand new location in the mall, and in 2007, the Dillards would open its new location. Books A Million would also join the mall in 2009, unfortunately the same year that the Goodies would close. 2015 would see the mall being purchased by the Sterling organization. Unfortunately, the food court would cease operations in 2017 to make room for a brand new dine-in AMC Stones River Towne theater. Now, I don't know about you, but are you beginning to see what's going on here? Does this kind of seem like an intentional demolition of the mall, just piece by piece? Kind of like we'll do it kind of slow and sneakily so that the community won't realize that they're losing their mall, and then in the end, oh snap, they lost the mall. It just seems like this place is slowly turning into a giant outdoor mixed-use lifestyle center. And although that's better than, a giant warehouse, I'd still rather have the indoor mall. Now, of course, we all knew that this was coming because on November 8th of 2018, it was announced that the Sears would be closing as a part of a plan to close 40 stores nationwide. The store would then be closed by February 11th of 2019. Also that same year in 2018, the mall would be renamed to the Stones River Towne Center. Oh, yeah. Did you get that name? Stones River Towne Center. Kind of sounds like a name they'd give to a lifestyle center, like one of those open-air concept outdoor mall thingies that's got a bunch of mixed use in it. Yeah, they're clearly intentionally demallifying this mall. Strike and Spare, a brand new bowling and arcade center, would open in the former Sears in September of 2020. So I came across this store, the Electronics Express, and at first I thought, oh wow, it's like a Best Buy competitor. And upon walking in, it's more appliances than anything, and they did have a lot of TVs. It kind of reminded me, if you're familiar with H.H. Gregg, we used to have those all over Ohio. Definitely reminded me of that. If you're from Michigan, kind of more like an ABC warehouse. And from driving around the Nashville, Tennessee area, this seems to be kind of like their local electronics appliance store, because they have multiple locations all throughout the Nashville area. Now, being that this store, or at least this location, didn't seem to sell major electronics like a Best Buy does, I don't know how they're surviving off of just appliance and TV sales mainly, because how often do you need to buy a new TV or a new refrigerator or washer, or, that kind of stuff. I want to thank you for joining me here as we took a tour of the Stones River Towne Center. If you want to check out the outdoor portion of this mall, along with the closing Dillards, then check out the links on screen and in the description box below, and become a channel membership here on YouTube or over on Patreon to gain access to that video and so much more. As always, a big thank you to everyone who supports me here on YouTube and over on Patreon. Without your support, these videos wouldn't be possible. That's going to do it for today's episode, and I will see you guys next week for another episode.